I'm gonna slam the record button on here. Awesome. Okay, so I'm not hearing from anybody, so I'm assuming that everybody can hear me. Fantastic. Okay. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Justine. I am the Grand Vice President for Collegiates for this biennium. And what we're going to do today, we're going to talk a little bit about chapter strategic planning, which is something that we introduced during convention this past July. And so it's kind of, it's not exact, it's pretty much a rehashing of everything we talked about. I know a lot of people wanted the documents. I put them in before people came in. I don't know if the link is still there. If it's not, let me know, because I don't know if you can see previous, I can't remember if you can see previous messages. If it's not in there, let me know, I'll throw it in there again. Let's see. Please resend them, cool. All right, so this is a link to the Google Drive that should be available for you guys to get some of the documents that we're gonna talk about. They are documents that you can fill in and use for your chapters, the strategic planning, as well as the SWOT analysis for your chapter in there. Once I have this recorded, I will also put this in there. I can't remember if I put these slides in there yet, but they will be in there as well if they're not already. Okay, so this is a poor visual right now, but I did kind of just want to give you an update about what this is. So what PepTaLKS is, something that Erin and I came up with with HQ. We wanted a kind of monthly check-in with chapters and members to be able to provide you kind of a regular set of communication and information on a monthly basis. So we put together, depending on what time of year, a set of different ideas. So this needs to be put up onto the website, and all this will be disseminated to everybody. But essentially, it's going to be every Saturday, not every Saturday, the first Saturday of every month at 12 Eastern, 11 Central, 10 Mountain, and 9 Pacific. And it's open to everybody, so we do encourage everybody to attend. However, some of them are going to be targeted to certain groups of people. So for instance, we kind of targeted this one towards e-board members because it's about strategic planning. However, if you've got chapter members that are interested in joining an e-board or want to know more about strategic planning for the fraternity or for chapters, we would encourage them to come. Next month, we're hoping it will be about chapter of the year redesign and new awards that are coming, fingers crossed, which is really exciting, and about grants. So that will, of course, be for everybody to learn more about, but also we encourage e-boards to be there so they really know what's going on. Having a bonus one in November about residency. December will be about risk management, which is going to be really important. February, we want to kind of do a recap of the fall semester and how it was going, so that will be more of an interactive roundtable. March, about officer transitions and elections. April is going to be with we want fundraising chairs and treasurers. It'll be about fundraising, donations, trust, Project Hope, and Campaign for Progress. May will be with the Grand Treasurer, so it'll be talking about budgets and travel grants, and then June, what to expect at convention. So this may be something we continue to repeat these exact same kind of things every year, or we're going to come up with new ideas every year. I'm not exactly sure at this moment for the second part of the biennium. But hopefully you find this enjoyable and helpful. If not, please also let us know. So I just kind of wanted to give you a snippet of what that was about too, since I know it is new. All right, so by the end of the presentation, hopefully you'll be able to complete a SWOT analysis for your chapter. If you're not sure what SWOT is, we'll make sure to go through that very soon. Summarize the purpose behind the fraternity strategic and operating plan, how it pertains to goal setting, and then start to design a chapter strategic and operating plan with SMART goals based on your SWOT analysis. I will say the major difference between what we are doing today versus what we did in the collegiate conference is we are condensing everything to 1 hour or less today versus we did this in 3 hours during convention, and we did breakout sessions with region supervisors, and everyone was kind of broken up and did some work during this. We won't be doing that today, but you'll kind of have the documents so that you can work on it on your own and with your chapter. All right, so first I do want to review what SMART goals or what it means to be smart. You may have heard about this, but to have a SMART goal, you want something that is specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and time-bound. So this kind of just sets the stage for things that we're going to talk about, and we'll go through this again multiple times. So I just wanted to kind of set that stage there. And also SWOT analysis. So if you haven't heard about SWOT analysis, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So strengths are going to be those areas that you have an advantage over others. Weaknesses, of course, are those areas that you're going to be weaker than others and find that others are better than you. Opportunities are places that you can take advantage of to help achieve your goals. And threats are things that are maybe preventing you from achieving your goals. Okay, so this is going to help with your goal setting. You know, always loved inspirational quotes. So continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. Samuel L. Clemens from AKA Mark Twain. So first we're going to talk about how this relates to fraternity improvement. We have done this for the Lambda Kappa Sigma as a whole, and then we'll talk specifically about chapters. So it's really important for you to understand how the fraternity has developed and how we do goal setting for the fraternity. So way back in 1913, which if you don't remember, Founders Day is coming up, so please remember about Founders Day. So back in 1913, Lambda Kappa Society was a social club with 8 founding members at Massachusetts College of Pharmacy. And then about 7 years later, it wasn't until about 7 years later that women had the right to vote. In the mid-1960s, only 8% of all licensed pharmacists were women. So it's very different now, as you can see. So about 107 years later, now 55% of licensed pharmacists are women, and 65% of pharmacy school graduates are women. LKS is recognized as an international pharmacy fraternity with over 20,000 initiated members. So it's very different from that 8 people all the way to 20,000. We've chartered almost 50 collegiate chapters and 40 chartered alumni chapters with 30 active collegiate chapters. We've got our headquarters staff and then our annual conventions with 150 plus attendings. And this year, with our virtual convention, which was really, really neat. So how did we actually get here? And that, of course, is Ethel J. Heath. And what would Ethel say? We've gotten here through strategic planning. See how many times I stumble over strategic planning this morning. I swear I had coffee. So what is strategic planning specifically? It's how an organization develops a process to define its strategy and its direction. It allows them to make decisions on how to allocate their resources to get towards that strategy and get towards those goals, and helps to find the priorities that they need. So LKS, just like every organization, really needs to have a strategic and operating plan. And we do this and kind of redevelop and relook at ours every 3 to 5 years. It keeps everybody on the same page. It keeps everyone going forward in the same direction with common goals. And it also assists with officer transition, so everybody is moving towards those same goals. It means that you're not reinventing the wheel with every time you have a turnover in your officers. And it helps guide the fraternity forward because everybody knows where we're going. So the fraternity has done this kind of SWOT analysis so that the leaders among Lambda Kappa Sigma considered the mission, the core values, and what it takes to grow, as well as the changing needs of the members in order to identify what the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats were to develop a strategic and operating plan for LKS. Button. All right. So how do we promote our core values, which is what makes up LKS, within our goals? So of course, our core values, just a reminder: sisterhood, leadership, integrity, service, and scholarship. So down at the bottom are some examples of how we've incorporated the core values into our goals. So we've got Lamb Talks podcast, which is a sisterhood's core value, talking to alumni and kind of developing more of that sisterhood bond between collegiates and alumni and other alumni as well. Leadership programming at conventions, so that falls under the leadership column. Development of the educational trust, which falls under scholarship. Choosing Project Hope as the national philanthropy will fall under service. And then new member orientation revamp, which I know we talked about last month, during our kind of premier pep talks. So that falls under integrity, to make sure that everybody is kind of following along with the appropriate rules and the manual, and we all are on the same page when it comes to our new member orientation program. So when it comes to our strategic plan, once we add in the how, it becomes the operating plan. So it's not just the strategy, it needs to be put into action. So the operating plan actually outlines a shorter amount of time than the strategic plan. So that's kind of the bigger goals, and then this is the how we make it happen. So the strategic plan is 3 to 5 years with an operating plan of 1 to 2 years. So every 1 to 2 years, we're reassessing our operating plan. And it's the to-do list for how you're going to execute and get to the strategies that you have in your plan. So staying on track with your operating plan is how you're going to succeed and achieve your goals. And everything that we do should be aligning with this plan. If you're veering off into the side, then it's not going to be aligning to your plan, and it really doesn't need to be happening right now. If it needs to be happening, then it needs to be on the plan. All right, so I'm going to give you an example of something from the operating plan. So we want to increase the number of dues paid alumni. So the strategic plan, this is the overarching goal. This is the longer 3 to 5 year goal, but the operating plan of how we're going to do this in the next 1 to 2 years, we want to charter, reactivate at least 2 alumni chapters each year. We want to create a mentorship program that will encourage alumni to create professional relationships with collegiates, offer at least 3 CE programs for alumni annually, which we do at convention. Also offer more resources for alumni to make maintaining a chapter and meeting deadlines simple, and teach new and current members that joining LKS is a lifelong commitment. So as far as who oversees making these goals happen, this is going to be everybody. This is not only your region supervisors, your grand council, all of your committees, headquarters staff, your chapter leaders, and members. It's going to be everybody that has these common goals to help move us forward, and is all needed in order to make these goals happen. So we can kind of add in here specific people too that are in charge of different tasks for increasing the number of dues paid alumni. So we're working with the alternate region supervisors for chartering and reactivating alumni chapters. So if you don't have a current alumni chapter at your college or school of pharmacy, expect to be hearing from one of the alternate region supervisors soon about your alumni members and seeing who we can get started potentially developing an alumni chapter. The Grand Vice President for Alumni is working on developing a mentorship program. The Convention Planning Committee does, like I said, supply the 3 CE programs annually. Headquarters staff is working on the resources for alumni to make maintaining the chapter and deadlines more simple. And then teaching new and current members that joining LKS is a lifelong commitment. This is a role for both GVPC, so myself, and then the new member educators. So this is what we're trying to establish in the new member orientation program that we are revamping. So together we need to work to achieve both the fraternity and your chapter goals, and having a strategic plan helps organizations to stay focused. You want to spend, like I said, a majority of your time and resources on these goals. And because we don't have a lot of those resources, it means we have to really stick to the strategic plan and not kind of veer off on the side, so we can stay on track to meet the goals that we need. All right. So I'm going to pause here for a second because I've been yapping for a minute. I just want to see if anybody has any questions so far. It's hard for me to look at the chat and not, or you can also just talk or video yourself. I need a sip of water. All right. Cool beans. If you do, go for it. All right. I will keep going then. All right, another fantastic quote here. Excellence is not a destination, it's a continuous journey that never ends. So we're going to talk a little bit now about chapter planning and give you some tools to help drive your chapter towards goals and excellence. The plan is to help you define that specific strategy and also guide discussion to get to those goals, and aligning all of your activities and your members towards those goals and guide your leadership. So like I mentioned before, when you've got turnover to different officers, everybody should be aligned to those same goals. All right. Oh, dang it. Sorry, Morgan. Let me. No, there's no documents that are due October 15th. These are not documents that are due October 15th. I thought that link got you to, all right, give me, I'll put in a link in, all right, give me a hot second. Let me try to get a better link to the Google Drive. Is anyone else having issues getting to the Google Drive? I thought that I was sharing the Google Drive. Let's try this. Okay, weird. All right, try that and see if that will work. And if not, let me know. That one was like a shared link instead of the other one was just a link to it. Let me know if that doesn't work. All right. So this plan is where I would say it is not required. It is highly encouraged, as I don't do these things for my health. And we're only doing this and suggesting this because we feel like it's helpful for your chapter. So like I said, I would just encourage you as a chapter to develop this and keep this as a free-flowing document. However, it is not something as of today that we are currently requiring of all of our chapters, just highly encouraging. So as far as creating a strategic and operating plan, we've developed one that I like to say is in a pharmacy style. So it is in the fashion of a SOAP note. If you are familiar with SOAP notes, then you'll get it. If you're not, I will explain it to you in a minute. So you can do this at your first chapter meeting. I know that's past this first chapter meeting, so you can do this now. You can do this during a retreat that you have in January. If you haven't had your fall retreat yet, you could do that now. The first time that you make this, it's going to take the most time for you, and then every year when you update it, it will not be as time consuming. But every year, every 1 to 2 years, you're going to want to reevaluate your chapter using a SWOT analysis, and we'll go through an example of that, and then update your plan and SMART goals if it's appropriate. So you don't want to update your SMART goals every year. Like I said, those are supposed to be for like 3 or 4 years. And you can ignore that part on the bottom. We're not going to work on that today. So this is kind of the top part of the strategic and operating plan. It has a list on the side where you can type in your website, your Instagram handle, your Facebook, your Twitter. If we have other social media that pops up, we can add that there. But that is one thing that you probably won't be changing as well. But so the first time you make that, it will stay like that probably forever. So the format of this, like I said, is a SOAP note. So there's going to be a section that's for subjective, objective assessment / problems and plan. So if you are a younger student in pharmacy school and you haven't yet gotten to this, this is the way we work up patients. And if you are already familiar with this, then you're probably rolling your eyes like, oh, I don't want to do any more SOAP notes. But I think that it actually is really helpful. It aligns with the goals of LKS and us being a pharmacy-related organization. So we thought that it would only be appropriate to make this kind of pharmacy and medical So in the subjective section, these are subjective things. So our chapter mission, vision, and purpose, as well as the SWOT analysis is going to go there. Objective, so that's going to be where your hard numbers are. So if this was a patient, this is where your blood pressures, your blood sugars, your weights, your height, things like that, that's where those would go. So in this objective section, I want your hard numbers about your membership, your dues, the amount that you have in the bank, stuff like that. So things that can't really be argued and they're not subjective goes there. Assessment and problems are going to be areas that you identified during your SWOT analysis as areas of weakness and setting your SMART goals. And then the plan is going to be the operating plan. So again, the steps that you're going to use to achieve your SMART goals. All right, so we're going to go into each section in a little bit more depth. So we've got our subjective section, which is our mission, vision, purpose, and SWOT analysis. So the first section has you kind of entering a little history about your chapter. This should be who maybe the founders were, the date that you were founded. A lot of times this history gets lost. So I think having it in here is going to be really helpful to remind the rest of your chapter members where you guys got your start. Vision is going to be the action statement. So this can be created by your chapter leaders, your exec board, and it's going to be what kind of propels the chapter towards its mission. It's really kind of how are you going to leave an impact? Like, what do you guys want to do? What do you want to be known for? The mission should be the same for everybody. So I have noticed in certain chapters that they have different missions, but our mission needs to be the same for everybody. Lambda Kappa Sigma provides lifelong opportunities for women in pharmacy through professional excellence and personal growth. That is LKS, that is our mission. And then envision future. So what are your future plans for your chapter 1 to 5 years down the road? Okay. So this is that section. This is where you can type in your history, your vision, the mission, which is already pre-typed in for you, and then your envision future. Okay. These are just screenshots from the PDF that you can type into. So the subjective section, this is another reason why it should be updated annually. It should have a list of your current chapter officers. So when you put in this information too on an annual basis, this is also going to serve as a really good historical document. This is going to say, it was this year, these were our officers, flip. This year, these are our officers, flip. So you've got a really good historical reference for us, for you, of who was involved in your chapter at that time and who were your leaders. Okay, so this is, I think the version I have on there has a little bit more chapter officers. This is an outdated version. It also has over here updated, so you want to kind of put the date of when you've been updating this as well. All right, so we're talking about SWOT analysis now of your chapter. So just a reminder, the SWOT analysis again is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So this is really important so you know what your goals are and where your opportunities lie for improvement. Okay. All right, there we go. So there's a template in the Google Drive as well for a chapter SWOT analysis. It's a 4-quadrant document. And when you're looking at your strengths, you want to look at what your chapter is really amazing at, what you're known for, and what you're really proud of. Maybe your chapter is the ones that are, you know, you're known for your safety goggles sale. I think that's Northeastern Alpha Rho. You are really known at being really great for service activities, things that you're really proud of. Maybe weaknesses, what's holding you back from success, what's something that is an area that you need to improve, or how you need to help meet your goals. Opportunities, so these are things that could potentially be used to turn into positives. And then threats, so something that will prevent you from reaching your goal or your successes. Maybe this is that there were some issues and now you can no longer recruit P1 students, or you can't recruit pre-pharmacy students, or you have too many organizations or too many pharmacy fraternities and it's really challenging to do recruitment, something along those lines. Everyone's going to be a little different. So this is kind of an example. I just made up an example chapter. So I put strengths, strong bonds of sisterhood. They have a great relationship with the senior center in town that gives them a lot of opportunities for professional events, and they have really great attendance for chapter meetings. Opportunities that they're already used to using Zoom now for including others off campus that will be helpful in the future. So they could add in their API members or alumni members. They could start including those even once they are back on campus. University offers a social media class to help improve their presence, focus on quality over quantity to also help improve attendance issues. And then weaknesses, lack of involvement from the P4 class is a struggle, lacking in social media presence, and too many events / lack of attendance. And threats, strong competition from other pharmacy fraternities. We are graduating more members than we are initiating every year, so a decline in the rate of membership. And the school is now not allowing us to recruit until spring semester now. So those are some threats. Okay, so that is a document in the Google Drive, and then once you have that filled out, you can screenshot it and upload it or include it, maybe, or I think you have to actually retype it, so maybe you don't need that part, but you can type it into the PDF so that it is in there as your SWOT analysis on the PDF. All right, so the objective section, like I said, that's where we want to see hard numbers. So we want to see your membership numbers over the past 5 years. So if you just know your membership numbers from last year and this year, that doesn't actually show us a good picture of what the rate is over the past 5 years. And are you on a steady incline? Or are you on a steady decline? And that's really important. Also, the size of the new member class each year over those 5 years, and the size of your graduating P4 class each year. Also, the bank account balance is also really important. I talked about this during convention, but I know that a lot of chapters have a large amount of money in your bank accounts. And it's really important that I'm not sure what you're squirreling away money for, but it's important that you use the money that you raise, otherwise somebody else will. So I would suggest, using it, making a scholarship fund for people to attend convention, making t-shirts, giving, there's lots of things I can think of to spend money. So if you need help, let me know. All right, so this is just the example of the objective section. So number of active members in your chapter today, number of incoming members, active members and new initiates for the past 5 years. Asking about if you have an active alumni chapter, and then finances. So the status of your bank account, last year's balance. So you'll see if you, started your year at $2,000 and at the end of the year you're at $5,000. That's healthy. I'm just saying like an increase, regardless of the money amount. Versus if you have, you're on a steady decline. This year's budget for activities, paying your delegate fee, and what are your current chapter dues outside of headquarters or national dues. All right, so based on that SWOT analysis that you did, now we move into the assessment and plan section. So this is where you would identify your top 3 to 5 areas of focus to create goals from your SWOT analysis. And these are gonna be your problem list. So again, if you were doing a real SOAP note, this is gonna be where you say that your patient has diabetes, they have high blood pressure, they have hyperlipidemia, they have rheumatoid arthritis, and they've got congestive heart failure. And then then you fill in more information, goal setting from there. So these are going to be those problems on there. And you're going to write them as SMART goals, which you remember from way back before, hopefully, with action items outlining how you're going to work to reach them. So this is going to be where you write out your simple, your problems and your here, and these are ones that you're going to recreate every 2 to 3 years. But these SMART goals need to be, again, I know I reviewed this in the very beginning, so specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and time-bound, and we're going to go through an example of what that means. So specific is going to be to, and it kind of ends at the bottom as a full SMART goal. So specific, increase chapter membership, measurable by 10%, so that becomes more specific and measurable. Attainable, so you got to think, is 10% attainable? Is it achievable? Yeah, 10% makes sense. However, it depends on how big your chapter is. If your chapter is, 2 people, well, 10 people, is that achievable? Yeah, probably. However, if you're thinking you want to increase your membership by 50% and your chapter right now is 100 people, that's not going to necessarily be achievable. And on the flip side of things, if you're only 6 people, is it appropriate to say you want to increase membership by 100%? Maybe not. Maybe that's not appropriate. Reasonable and realistic is a goal of 10% increase realistic. So you want to make sure that that's appropriate. And time bound. So increase chapter membership by 10% by May 2021. Okay, so that's like your full SMART goal. So this is where you're going to put your SMART goals and then your steps to achieving those goals. And so you can put up to 3 to 5 steps to meet each goal. And these can be the goal can be updated or adjusted, or the steps can be adjusted to meet those goals every year if you need to, but the overarching SMART goal shouldn't be updated more than every 2 to 3 years. Okay. So once you put everything all together, you have this plan that can be updated every year. You have 3 to 5 annual goals that are going to be 3 to 5 year-long goals, that are going to be guiding your chapters forward. You also have talking points that are going to be distinguishing you from other fraternities. Everybody knows what your goals are going to be, and you can use those as talking points when it comes for recruitment. You also have a way to guide new leadership and have officer transitions all align with each other. And like I said, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So this is kind of what the whole strategic plan looks like. If you, on the 3rd page with the SMART goals, if you had more than 3 SMART goals and you just use another page of that one if you wanted to add more. But I would not suggest more than 5 because that gets too many. Okay. I did put this whole infographic into the Google Drive, but I did break it up into smaller sections. So rather than having to go through this entire detailed PowerPoint, you can kind of go through this infographic instead if you wanted to review it with your chapter about laying the groundwork, creating and updating your chapter's vision with the subjective section, conducting your SWOT analysis and putting that into the subjective section, assessing and identifying your areas of improvement, creating your SMART goals, and then identifying your plan. So these are going to be the 3 to 5 actionable items and for each SMART goal, and then making sure that you remember your SMART goals are agreed upon and specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. So there's one whole long infographic in the Google Drive, and also there's the PepTaLKS calendar too. So we will have, if you do create these, I'd be happy to have the region supervisors look at them. I'd be happy to take a look at them as well. I think it's a great way to help, kind of propel your chapters forward so that everyone's really on the same page and leaning towards the same common goals. So at this point, I would love to take any questions you have or any struggles that you've been having. If anyone's already tried this from convention, I'd love to hear about it. Or if you have any concerns, kind of open the floor. Or I'll just dance to myself.
Hi.
Hi, Morgan.
Hi, I'm at work, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm hiding in the back. I still can't get into that Google Drive. I just wanted to let you know. But so all of those things we should have like compiled and put together soon then, and then just more focus on updating them in the future is what you're saying? So like start on that and compile it all and then we'll just update it like every couple years.
Yeah, so the goal would be to create it now. And then every year you would be updating like your chapter officers in there. And then, you know, like maybe you don't need to make any adjustments, or maybe something happened, like say we made this last year, and then this year with COVID, you're like, well, we got to scrap a lot of things in here and switch everything to virtual stuff. So maybe this year you would have to have updated a lot of your strategic planning to have included how virtual life needs to help.
Right.
I'm sorry guys, I don't know how to make this Google Drive work. What we'll do, I don't,
Okay.
so yeah, that's kind of what the goal is. So yeah, that would be my thought, if, you know, you can try to play around with it for this year, and see how that works.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
Let me see. How do I who knows how to make Google Drives? I shared the screen. Hold on.
I was gonna say, if you share your screen, maybe we can help you.
I'll share my screen. All right. I did get link, and I also did share. Both of those seem to have not worked.
Okay. If you do, okay. If you click restricted to anyone with the link.
Well,
and then have us. I have no idea.
People added. Oh, because I had to add it. Okay, guys. Okay. I'm sorry.
I think that should work.
Does that work if you just click back on the link, or do I have to
I think you have to also give us access to edit it if you want us to write in the document. So back where you were.
So the goal actually is for you not to, I don't want you to document in this one.
Gotcha.
But I think.
Can we make a copy of it then?
Yes, that's supposed to be the plan.
Okay, gotcha.
And I think that we had tested that before.
Okay, great. Thanks.
But if that doesn't work, let me know. Okay, it works now. Great. But can somebody else test? Can you make a copy so that you can type in it? This is a struggle, guys. The ones that say template are the two things to type in. And I think you can make a copy.
Yeah, I made a copy. It's all good.
Awesome. Yay. Thanks, friend. Cool. Yay. Thanks, Jacqueline. Okay. Yay. All right. Thanks. That was teamwork. All right. What else, guys? Anything else? I know I spoke like 15 million miles a minute. We can also use this time if anyone else is having,